Hey, how we doing on this Sunday, guys? This is Frank. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel coming at you. It is my favorite time of the year from a sports perspective. College baseball is right around the corner. Tennessee starts off with Hofstra, Valentine's Day weekend. What better way to your heart than with Tennessee baseball? But part one today, our Tennessee baseball 2025 season preview. I'm going to hit on the starting pitchers, and more or less I'm focusing on the weekend rotation, what I'm looking like, or what I'm thinking that rotation is going to look like. Make sure you hit that like, that share, that subscribe. We're going to break it up into starting pitchers, relief pitchers midweek, and we'll record that next in the catchers. Kerry has already recorded the corner infielders and the middle infielders, and then he's going to do the outfielders as well. So we'll break that up into 6 parts. I'm releasing the starting pitchers today, which is Sunday, bullpen tomorrow, catchers, infield, outfield. Monday night, January 27th, not tomorrow night, but next Monday, we're going to do a live baseball show where we're just going to talk baseball. Season preview, we're going to kind of put a bow on our preview and kind of sum it up all in, hour or so, ever what it takes, what our expectations are, line up. We'll kind of put it all together then at that point. But I'm going to get right into this, and I'm going in a particular order and what I think are locks for the weekend rotation versus potential for the weekend rotation. And I've got around 7 or 8 guys here, and I've got a wild card in on this as well. But my main lock, I feel like, is going to be Liam Doyle. Ole Miss transfer. He started out at Coastal Carolina. Last year he pitched at Ole Miss. He had some weird numbers, to be honest with you. 6.35 ERA, 2-4 record, but he had 72 strikeouts in 45 and a third innings. And opponents hit 240 against him. That's not too bad. He gave up 10 home runs. Of course, Tennessee saw him when they played Ole Miss, and he went 6 innings with 10 strikeouts. So they saw him up close and personal. But looking at Doyle's numbers in SEC play, they really don't blow me. The strikeouts are good, but the rest of it, they really don't blow me away. So, but I know they talked about in fall ball that he looked really good. And Tennessee obviously saw something they liked in his arsenal when they saw him up close and personal last year as well. I think he's a lock for the weekend rotation, maybe even the Friday night guy. I'm curious to see on that one. But he's going to be in your rotation. He's a left-hander. He's about 6'2", 220. He has experience in SEC play. Again, he started out Coastal Carolina and went to Ole Miss. There's one of your weekend guys. Let's put it that way, because I'm curious to see the order they go with. My other lock here, and I've seen others that are playing it conservative. I'm not going conservative. My other lock, you got to put Tegan Coons. True freshman, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, top 50, number 45, according to Perfect Game. Perfect Game ranked him as like the number 47 freshman for this coming season. Baseball America had him top 5, though. So the potential's there. They raved about him in fall ball just based on where he's at. Perfect Game's got him listed 6'3", 180. He's close. I met him at the Smokies Stadium in the fall. He's closer to 6'5", 200 pounds. He's a big dude. And he's just getting started as well. He throws mid to high 90s. I think he can touch high 90s. There's some video on YouTube. I had it. This is actually the second time I've recorded this. I don't have the video back up, but it's a Perfect Game Classic out in Arizona where he pitched. He goes right after guys. He's not afraid to go right after them. In that, he was hitting around 92, 93. Good changeup, real good breaking ball. What I was impressed with, especially there was a left-hander toward the end of the video, and he threw 2 perfect breaking balls to a left-hander. Because I think you can get in trouble easily being a right-hander throwing breaking balls to a left-hander. Think of the Drew Gilbert bomb that still hasn't landed against Wright State. That was a hanging breaking ball that got crushed on that night. But Coons attacked the lefty, come in for fastball at 1.2, but just that inner, kind of that middle to inner break, and nobody's doing anything with that. They're just not. He has some nasty stuff. He's a big-time talent. feel like Tennessee was pretty fortunate to get him on campus because he seemed like an ideal guy to go to the draft. He didn't. Thank goodness we've got him here for at least a couple of years. And I think he, based on everything they're saying, he has to be in the rotation. There's a lot of talent on this pitching staff, and I think there's more talent now than there's been at any point under Tony Vitello. We've seen Blade Tidwell, we've seen Chase Burns, we've seen Drew Beam as true freshman starters. To me, Tegan Coons needs to be the fourth one here as well. I've got Doyle and Coons as locks. Here's where it gets interesting to me. I'm going with the wild card first. Last year, your ace was A.J. Russell coming in to the season. We saw, a glimpse of what he could do against Texas Tech when he went 4 1/3 and had 10 strikeouts in that game. Then the injuries hit and, it derailed his season. He'll be back at some point as he's currently rehabbing. Where's he at in the process is going to be the interesting thing to me. I don't really think you'll see him start this year. I could be wrong, and maybe later on the season. I'd love to see it, but I'm looking at him. My thought is probably more of back end guy when you get maybe that option. I think they ease him in at first, probably get him some innings here and there. And then you're hoping come postseason, he's ready to lock down at the end. And, if you do have some rotation issues and his arm's good to go, maybe then at that point you're ready to move him back into the rotation. I think that's the wild cards where he's going to come in. But that third spot to me, I'm thinking it's going to be Nate Snead. Snead, 75 innings, 75 1/3 last year, 61 Ks, 26 walks, 9 bombs, 10-2. He had 6 saves, 3.11 ERA. He throws high 90s. There's nights he's a strikeout pitcher, nights he's not. So to me, I think there's a missing out pitch. I think there's that missing really go-to strikeout pitch along the way with his, whether it's a changeup or a breaking ball or whatnot. I really kind of feel like those secondary pitches they're decent. Some nights better than others. But with his fastball, there's not a lot of movement. It's coming at you. He's throwing it up there to hit. Lots of outings of his were numerous innings. And, a lot of his role was coming in Sundays to relieve Xander Sechrist. So what's his role? And I know Tony Vitello alluded to that Snead wanted to do more last year. I think he gets his shot, and I think he'll be in the rotation. Now, him being the returner guy, do they trot him out on Friday night, or do they save him for Sunday on that? I'm really curious to see that. But my guess right now is Snead's your third guy. But other candidates, I think Dylan Lloyd's a possibility. My thing with him, he threw 30 innings, 30 1/3 innings, as a matter of fact, last year, 37 strikeouts, 2-0, 2.37. I think he's a candidate for it. But to me, I think you taxed some guys last year a little bit more because you went with the opener philosophy on Fridays. After Russell went out, they tried Causey out of the gate. He got hammered against Georgia and Auburn back-to-back. Then they went to the opener with Stamos, and Stamos might make it through an inning. There was, once he went over 2 innings. But they had a pretty quick, definitely in the postseason, they developed a very quick leash with him. And it really got to the point, to me, I thought it was pointless. You don't want to go to that opener philosophy. I don't like it. Now, if you have to, yeah, but with this much talent on the team this year, with this much talent, based on who's returning, based on who they've brought in, whether it's freshmen, whether it's portal, whether it's JUCO, I don't think there's a need for the opener philosophy this year. What Frank Anderson and that staff did last year with that pitching staff is pretty phenomenal because it looked rough early on, and it was very solid at the end of the year. The question was still that Friday night one, which kind of blew my mind that they were still going with that at the end. But fortunately, it didn't. It almost got us in a couple binds. The Florida State game, it got us in one. Game 1 against A&M, it got us in one as well. And I don't know. I'm hoping that's not a case this year, but they've had to adjust the weekend rotation the last 2 years. They had to do it 2 years ago because you had Dolander, Burns, Beam. Dolander wasn't getting it done. Burns was getting hammered. Beam, I mean, Beam was kind of who he was throughout his career, up and down. More solid than not, but he would go through those times where he struggled a little bit. And normally it was when he was out of the stretch, is what I picked up on with him. But 2 years ago, they ended up moving Andrew Lindsay to Friday night, Dolander back to Saturday, Burns to the bullpen. Of course, he got upset and left over it. And then last year they had to adjust due to the A.J. Russell injury. And then Beam was solid, and then Xander Sechrist, the way he come off the end of the year. That team does not win the College World Series without what Xander Sechrist did. That dude was lights out at the end of the year, and he pitched in so many big moments, big games, and he excelled in every single one of them. He's going to be missed at it. Beam's going to be missed as well. He's really kind of who you looked at for your workhorse on it as well. Causey did a lot of good things last year. So your whole rotation from last year's gone, and you're replacing it now. Snead and Loy seem like I really think Snead gets it. Russell's a wild card. Now, let's look at some JUCO guys. Brandon Arvidsson, 6'5", about 210. Last year at JUCO. So he originally pitched for Texas A&M, went to JUCO, signed with Texas last year after they had the coaching change. He got out of his letter of intent because it was Schlossnagel. Well, he already played for him. He's not going to play for him again. So he got out of the letter of intent there, opened it back up. Tennessee got him on campus and got him in. My thing with him, there was only a few times that he threw 5 innings in JUCO games. So he seems to me like more of that middle relief guy because they normally have their kind of set. You wouldn't see Snead throw twice on a weekend. You wouldn't see Causey throw twice on a weekend at any point. Now, when you got to the postseason, you start seeing Snead a little more with it. But throughout the regular season, you might see Snead midweek, and then you would see him normally on Sunday. But other than that, I mean, you didn't see him beyond that. Could Arvidsson be a guy they pair with one of these other dudes? I would think you would want to pair him with either Coons or Snead if that's a guy, just kind of mix up right, left. I don't think you want to pair him with Doyle to just go basically the same thing. I mean, Arvidsson's number, again, 108 strikeouts, 61 1/3 inning. That's pretty impressive. A lot of these JUCO guys had pretty impressive numbers. Thomas Crabtree threw 76 innings at Pearl River Community College, 105 strikeouts. He went 10-2. Where could he fit in somewhere? I've heard Ryan Combs mention as a starter. I don't see it. His first year in JUCO at Polk State, 71 strikeouts and 56 1/3 innings pitched. Last year, he only threw 27 1/3 innings. He looked pretty good. I saw him pitch in the Fall Ball World Series at Smoky Stadium, and he looked pretty good. I think he could fit in somewhere. Rotation, I'm not seeing it. This dude here is one that I think is interesting. Michael Sharman, JUCO guy, he's a left-hander, come from Georgia Highlands. He went 12-2 last year, 101 strikeouts, 93 2/3 innings pitched. And according to the Georgia Highlands stats, he had 5 complete games last year. 9.7 strikeouts per game. Opponents hit 279 off of him. Could he factor? I saw him pitch a little bit at Smoky Stadium. He looked pretty good. Left-hander, he looked to me like he's probably low 90s. Some breaking stuff. Looks to me like definitely a durable guy, a very durable guy. So where does he fit? Could he possibly do something and get into that rotation? I'm really kind of curious on that one because it's a guy definitely who's used to throwing a lot of innings. Austin Breedlove is another one. 82 innings pitched at Cleveland State, 123 strikeouts. So that's a dude who's striking out a lot of dudes. 4.39 ERA. He's a right-hand pitcher. Where does he factor in with it as well? That's kind of where I've heard Tanner Franklin mention transfer from Kennesaw State. He was not a starter at Kennesaw State. He threw one game, he threw 4 innings. For the most part, he was anywhere from 1 to 2 innings. He's definitely a bullpen guy to me. Possible closer because he's a big dude. He's listed at 6'5", 240. So he is a big dude. But that's to me, to sum it up, I think it goes Doyle, Coons, Snead. Not particularly in that order, but I think that's your weekend rotation. Midweek, who knows? They can go a lot of different ways with midweek. I think Arvidsson, to me, he factors somewhere in your weekend as far as coming out of the bullpen here. The other JUCO guys, I'm curious, Sharman, could he be a midweek starter guy? I've seen Nick Abraham, a freshman out of California, mentioned as a midweek starter as well. Sharman, to me, seems like kind of an ideal midweek dude. But we'll see on that. I'll talk about him a little bit more when I do the bullpen midweek video. But that's where I'm at right now. I think it's those three, and then A.J. Russell, where does he factor in down the stretch? To me, this has signs to be a really good rotation. Can they put it all together? We normally have seen when SEC play started, that's where we really find out. So, Tennessee I expect them to kind of cruise early. We'll find out when they go down to Houston a bit about them. They play some good competition down in Houston. But we'll really find out about these guys when you get into SEC play, because the SEC, pretty much in anything now, it's a gauntlet every single weekend. And what's funny is football is starting to fall behind basketball and baseball. Baseball has been the best SEC conference for a while, in my opinion, even better than football. But, you've seen it last year. It's the SEC National Championship. SEC, Tennessee run through the ACC. The ACC's best out in Omaha. A&M Kentucky did it on the other side. So, yeah, the ACC's good. SEC's a lot better, though. Wrapping up on that one, guys. Lots of content coming this week. Baseball. Make sure you check that out if you're a baseball fan. Biggest thing you do to help share that out as well. If you want to check out the memberships, if you're a member of the channel, I'm going to release the whole series up front for you, so you can catch them all. If you're not a member of the channel, of course, I'll upload them by the day. But members, you will have full access to all the videos once they are uploaded, which hopefully we'll have them all uploaded either later today or sometime tomorrow on that. You'll have the whole series available to you then and there. Make sure you check out that Patreon for $1 a month. As little as $1 a month, you can go to greatly help the channel here as well. This is Frank, House of Orange. Have a great Sunday, and go Vols.